The bailiff's knock doesn't sound like a normal knock. I don't know how else to describe it. It has a weight to it, an official bluntness, like the person on the other side isn't hoping you'll answer, they're informing you that you will. It was 7:04 a.m. on a Tuesday in February, and I was standing in my kitchen in Flat 3, Carver House, in socks and a hoodie, holding a mug of tea I hadn't tasted yet. I remembered checking my phone when I heard it. 7:04, that detail is burned into me. There were two of them. A woman in a high-vis vest and a man in a dark jacket holding a clipboard and a laminated letter. Behind them, slightly to the left, stood a man I didn't recognize, 50s, gray coat, tired eyes. He wasn't aggressive. He almost looked apologetic. That scared me more than anything else. The woman said, and I am quoting this as accurately as I can, "We're here on behalf of the legal owner of this property. We have a possession order. You'll need to leave the premises today." I told her she had the wrong flat. I told her I paid my rent every month. I told her the name of my landlord, Marcus Hale, and I watched her write it down without any reaction, which is when something in my chest started to drop. I'd found the flat in April 2 years earlier, through a listing on SpareRoom. It was a one-bed on the third floor of a converted Victorian building in Leighton, East London. £900 a month, bills included. For London, for that flat, it felt almost too good. But I'd been looking for 6 weeks by that point. I was exhausted. The flat was clean, it had big windows, and Marcus, who showed me around himself, cheerful, unhurried, offered me a biscuit from a tin he'd brought in a tote bag, seemed completely normal. He had keys. He knew which drawer the spare fuses were in. He told me the boiler could be temperamental in January and showed me how to reset it. He pointed out the crack in the bathroom tile and said he'd get it sorted. He gave me a tenancy agreement. It had his name on it as landlord. It had the address. It had all the right boxes. I have a cousin who works in property management and she told me once to always ask for proof of ownership, a land registry document, before signing anything. I didn't ask. I was 28 years old, I was tired, and I liked the flat. I signed. I paid him £1,800 up front. First month, deposit. I set up a standing order for the first of every month. For 14 months, it went out. £900. On time. Every single time. I was the ideal tenant. I reported issues through a WhatsApp number he'd given me. Sometimes he responded quickly, sometimes it took a week. But things got fixed. A plumber came for the leak under the sink. Someone replaced the kitchen light fitting. It all felt real because it was functioning. I was living there. The heating worked. The postman knew my name. I had no idea that the man who actually owned Carver House, a landlord based in Manchester named David O'Say, had not set foot in the building in nearly 3 years. He'd rented it out to Marcus Hale in the spring before I moved in, with a short-term license agreement that expired after 6 months. Marcus had no right to sublet. No right to take any money from any tenant. No right to issue tenancy agreements. His name was not on the land registry. It never had been. When David O'Say had tried to reclaim the property after Marcus stopped paying him, around month 4 of my tenancy, Marcus had simply ignored every letter, changed his phone number, and carried on collecting rent from 4 tenants across 2 floors. 4 of us. For over a year. I found all of this out standing in my own hallway in my socks while a woman in a high-vis vest waited for me to start packing. They gave me until 5 p.m. David Osei, the gray-coated man who had seemed apologetic, told me he was sorry. He said it quietly, directly, and I believed him. He was a victim too, in a different way. I didn't have the capacity to be kind about that in the moment. I told him I had nowhere to go. He didn't have an answer for that, because there wasn't one. I called my sister. I called my friend Priya who had a spare room. I packed what I could: clothes, laptop, the box of documents I kept on the top shelf of my wardrobe. My furniture I could not take. My bookshelf. My bed. The kitchen table. I carried up 3 flights of stairs with my downstairs neighbor Joel on a hot Saturday in May. I left it all. By 4:45 p.m. I was standing on the pavement outside Carver House with 4 bags and a disassembled floor lamp I couldn't leave behind because my mother had bought it for me. Marcus Hale had my £900 deposit. He had £12,600 of my rent money. He had my sense of safety in a way I'm still working out how to get back. I found him. It took me 3 weeks and a spreadsheet and more late nights than I can count. I found his real name, not an alias. He'd actually used his real name, which told me something about how untouchable he thought he was. I found his LinkedIn, updated as recently as 6 months ago, listing himself as a property consultant. I found a Facebook profile where he'd posted a photo in November, at what looked like a birthday dinner, grinning, a glass of wine in his hand. I stared at that photo for a long time. I contacted the other 3 tenants. One of them, a woman named Sophie who'd lived on the 2nd floor, had been there even longer than me. 17 months. She was 6 months pregnant when the bailiffs came. She had a hospital bag in the cupboard by her front door. She'd packed that and left. I can't think about Sophie too long without something in me going very quiet and very cold. We got a solicitor. A housing law specialist named Claire who told us we had a strong case and that this kind of fraud, while not common, was also not as rare as it should be. We filed a report with Action Fraud. We filed a separate report with the Metropolitan Police. We contacted Trading Standards. We contacted every letting agency Marcus had ever been associated with. We found 3, through his LinkedIn history and some careful searching, and sent each of them a detailed account of what he'd done. The civil case took 8 months. I won't pretend it was clean or satisfying in the moment. It was slow and expensive, and there were weeks when Claire would send an update that meant nothing had moved, and I would sit with that for days. But we won. A county court judgment against Marcus Hale for the full amount owed to all 4 tenants. Deposit, rent, and damages. He was ordered to pay. He appealed. The appeal failed. In June, 14 months after the bailiffs knocked, I received a SHAPS transfer of £14,850. Every penny. I sat in Priya's spare room, where I had been sleeping on a fold-out mattress for over a year, and I looked at my bank balance for a long time. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt something I don't have a clean word for. Emptied out and then refilled with something slightly different than what was there before. The police investigation is ongoing. I'm told Marcus has been identified and interviewed. I'm told there may be other properties, other tenants, other sets of keys he had no right to hold. I believe it. The confidence required to do what he did, to sit across a kitchen table and offer someone a biscuit and hand them a fake tenancy agreement and smile. That kind of confidence doesn't come from one job. That's practiced. I checked the land registry before I signed the lease on my current flat. I asked my new landlord, a woman named Heather, for her full name as it appears on the title deed, and then I verified it myself that evening for £3 on the government website. Heather seemed slightly offended. I didn't apologize. There's a version of this story where I say it made me stronger, or wiser, or that I'm grateful for what it taught me. I've tried on that version. It doesn't fit. What I'll say is this: I gave a man my trust and £14,850, and he treated both as things he was entitled to take. The system, slowly, gave me the money back. Nobody gives back the 8 months I spent on a fold-out mattress. Nobody gives back the night I stood on a pavement with a floor lamp while my upstairs neighbor Joel, who I will never see again, shouted from a third-floor window asking what was happening. Marcus Hale is still out there. His LinkedIn is still up. His photo at that birthday dinner is still there if you know where to look. He is still smiling. That's the part one live with.